Okay, hello everybody and welcome to the March Qentinel release stream. In this stream we are going to show you the next generation features that we've been developing for Qentinel Pace in this month. We're doing a monthly review of all the features that we do each month and show you guys directly and live the newest hotness that we put into Pace. My name is Henry. I'm the Chief R&D Evangelist from Qentinel and been hosting a couple of these streams, and this time I even put in a nice joke shirt for this thing. Git push. May the force be with you. And what I thought like you guys to do, if you are really interested in what we do in the stream and what we do with Qentinel Pace and Robot Framework, please sign up for the page that we have. Click on the bell, all the typical YouTube stuff that we have to say so we can get all the engagements, and we really like you to do that. That's one of the best things that you can do for us if you want to help us and get all the news of the newest features of Pace immediately. A lot of these new features are behind the beta flag in the application, so also be sure to check that out inside the thing. So, into today's agenda, what we're going to talk about is RoboCon experience with Esco. This is going to be kind of a demo. We had one of the major events of Robot Framework, RoboCon this year, just a few weeks ago. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, as that's super important for us, and some of the open sourcing that we did in there as we open source the next point, QWeb. QWeb is our open source web automation library that you can use with simple keywords and what I dare say one of the most effective ways to do web automation. Third, QVision. If you have something else than web and you really want it to work, multi-applications and all of that, we're going to demo some of the greatest vision-based features in there. Fourth, something that a lot of you people have been asking for is the Visual Studio Code PaceEditor integration. So you can do all your development inside Pace VS Code. You don't have to go into any of the cloud or anything else. You can deploy straight from here and run stuff straight from there. No need to leave your editor. I think that's one of the biggest ones here. Not to diminish all the other stuff, but I think that's one of the things that we've been asking. And we have a new segment, demo number 5. It's not really a demo. We're going to give kudos to some of the Pace users and some of the members of the community that have been really active and helping us out. And lastly, if you have any questions and answers in the end that we're going to handle from either from the YouTube chat, you can put stuff in there and we'll raise them to the stream, or you can ask them at any point of the whole stream. Thank you, everybody. Let's go into our first demo, RoboCon 2021 wrap-up and discussions. I'm going to invite to the stage Esko Hannula, who's our CEO, who was also talking in the event. And we're going to talk a little bit about the whole event, and I think one of the best remote events that have been done, maybe for the whole year. I think it was superbly organized. Welcome, Esko.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Henry.
Hey. Yeah, I little bit prefaced discussion about RoboCon. How were your feelings about RoboCon? So for everybody who don't know, RoboCon is the main event typically being held locally in Finland, in Helsinki, talking about all the open source development going around Robot Framework and all of the releases of the new libraries and all of that. This year it was a remote event, and Esko also had a talk in there. And maybe Esko, you could tell us a little bit about your experiences in there.
Sure. So RoboCon is a hugely important event for us because Qentinel Pace has Robot Framework in its core as the test executor, and as many of you know, Qentinel is actually the place where Robot Framework originally was born almost 20 years ago, and we were the platinum sponsor this year, and I was a bit hesitant in the beginning, not because I wouldn't like RoboCon and the community, but because the event was fully remote. But as Henry told, it worked better than expected. It was possible to meet people from all over the world, share experiences, and learn what's going on. And I guess it's one of the superpowers of that kind of open source community that bigger and smaller innovation happens everywhere simultaneously, and there are mechanisms of sharing and elaborating on those innovations and progressing things together. And in general, it was a very positive experience. Obviously, the speeches, including mine, were great and provided a lot of insight and and new ideas to think about.
Yeah. I gotta say, the platform that they used was this Gather Town. It was kind of like a 2D Zelda type of a thing. And when they had set up all the event, that you had kind of like virtual booths in there. You walked up to some people in there. It actually opened the webcam and a mic for you, so you had quite the similar feeling that on an actual fair center that you would actually get in there, that you go talk to random people and say, hey, are you interested about what we do? And you got a lot of interesting conversations going on there. And I got to give kudos to Robot Framework community. And I had René Ronne from Impulse was one of the main guys doing a lot of the work on there. So extra kudos to him for setting that kind of a thing up. I think that made the event the way that it is. The streams were good and the talk was good. You said that you had a talk in there. What did you talk about in there?
Well, the title of my speech was Hyper Automation or Hype Automation, and it was all about the future visions about of software robotics and software automation and test automation in particular, of course. And I had a few key messages, actually the very same I've been talking about for several years already, but I'm talking about them with a lot more passion now, because I see that those visions are really coming true. Number one, a big thing that is affecting the whole software and IT world is that DevOps is now mainstream. And it's all fine and good as long as DevOps is something a software team does in their own release stream and their own pipeline. But as soon as you transfer the DevOps thinking into a classic IT organization that has zillions of applications and platforms to maintain of different age, different type, different technology, and whenever something breaks in that whole, the business is at risk. And now these guys that operate that kind of platforms and environments, they may not be very excited about DevOps. Not that they wouldn't like rapid value delivery and short cadence, but because there's a huge amount of verification and validation to be done. But there's actually no choice, because everyone who is delivering software to these environments is going DevOps. And this is big for automation. You need to be able to automate your testing, you need to be able to automate your deployments, and you need to be doing it in scale.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest examples that people typically give is this new wave of automotive companies, for example, Tesla and NIO and all these other, which have been software companies which started making cars, and they can deploy like 600 new versions to their cars each year. But compared to the more traditional software, not software makers, automotive makers, the release cadence is totally different. But they are also now playing the catch-up game in that. So there's a lot of changes coming because of this fact that everybody has to go DevOps.
Glad that you brought that up, because originally when I came up with this observation, it happened when I was thinking of Tesla. I mean, something that is a traditional, in many ways, a traditional mechanic product, but nowadays fully software defined, which has a life cycle longer than a computer or a cell phone, and that will have frequent software updates. So it will really, really be interesting to see how that works out in future.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things. And then another thing is, of course, you have a lot of different legacy applications. You have a lot of different applications going to the web, going to other places. And I think that's also the second thing that we did at RoboCon. One of the many events was the open sourced QWeb, which is our own web automation library. Now that we are mostly running Pace as a platform, we want to give out some of the technologies behind the libraries that you can write the scripts quite easily. We've released that as open source, and we've seen quite a lot of nice traction in QWeb. What do you say?
Yeah, I think there have been a few thousand downloads already in a few weeks, which is amazing. And well, you will have a great demo about QWeb today, but briefly, QWeb does or serves the same purpose as the Selenium library in Robot Framework. It's just that it's operating at a much higher level and it's much easier and more productive to use. And we wanted to open source that stuff because people who have been using QWeb in Qentinel Pace, many of them would like to use it in plain Robot Framework environment as well. And we thought, well, why not? It's certainly beneficial for everyone that great technologies spread. And it's good for the kind of nerdiest of the automation people to be able to look inside the implementation and see how we do the PaceWord, so-called PaceWord automation in Qentinel Pace. So if you want to try QWeb, go download it. Or if you don't want to download and install anything locally, you can still go to pace.qentinel.com and get the feel of QWeb in our cloud.
Yeah, and I think that what Esko said is a great point in there, that we all wanted to open source it, not just because we want to give back to the community, but we actually see that we really want to get that technology to the hands of everybody and really show that there's no too much dirty tricks hidden behind there, that you can actually get it working wherever you want. And of course, seeing what we're going to put the money where the mouth is, so to say, with source code. So check it out. And actually, we're coming up on time here. Thanks, Esko, for a couple of comments on RoboCon. I still got to thank RoboCon for the great organization that they did, the best remote event that I've been to. Up next, thank you, Esko, for being here. And up next, we have a demo of QWeb, as we talked about. Unfortunately, what happened was that Tuomas Koukkari was supposed to give a demo of QWeb here, and we'd have a little chat about it and discuss about it, but unfortunately, Tuomas couldn't join us today on stream. So we're going to see a video that he's recorded of QWeb and its best features, how to use it, and how you can actually make superb web automation with it. So check it out. Let's get the video rolling.
My name is Tuomas Koukkari, and I'm going to begin today by giving you a brief description about QWeb. Well, QWeb is a web application testing library. So this is something that we recently open sourced. It's comparable to Selenium library, but of course QWeb comes with its own set of keywords and even a little bit different philosophy of how to do test automation. But let's move on. Let's see an actual test case implemented with QWeb. So let me go to our testing site, and then I have my script somewhere here, and we will go these through line by line. So in QWeb, test cases normally start with keyword upstate, and it means that we want to handle the preconditions of a test case so that the application is in known state when the actual test case starts. The next keyword is click text, and this will actually find the provided text anywhere from the screen and click that. So here it would mean that it would go into this t-shirt called Scar the Lion and click this link. The next thing is we will click text add to cart, and in this case it will be a button here. So it would click this button add to cart. The next one is called dropdown. So the keyword is dropdown, and it will find a dropdown and locate the size, which is the label near to the dropdown. And then it will select value large from here. Then we will click item, and click item is a special keyword for situations where you don't have any UI text. So it would actually click this plus icon. Then it will again click text checkout, which is button here, and then it will fill all of these input fields. So full name, email, billing address, so on. It will fill all of these fields. And then it will click text continue shopping. You can't yet see, but if I make this a little bit wider, you can see that it's here. So it would go back to the product page. And then it will go to the shopping cart and remove item from the cart. And then it will verify this text, your cart is empty. Okay, let's run this. So I'll start to run. Yeah, now the browser opens. It might be a little bit too quick to explain, but it will do those exact steps. And if you can probably notice that it will draw a blue rectangle on top of every element that it finds. So that's just a setting that I have enabled in my app state, basically. Okay, let's create a completely new test case to demonstrate how the test case development process works. So this time I will be making this a little bit bigger, my editor view. And then we will again start with app state. So I actually made a pre-made app state for this. We will be using the same web application, but we will go to a different view. We'll go to the contacts page there. Then a little trick that I can utilize with QWeb is that I can say debug on. So basically now I have only the app state and then I have keyword debug on. And let's actually run this test case now to demonstrate what happens. So I'll use the tag live this time. It will run only this test case that is in progress. And now the browser opens. It will go to the contact view and then stop. And what happens here in my editor is that it will wait for me to do additional keywords live here. So let's again make this side by side. And what I want to do here is type something into this field. So type full name into the full name field. So let's do type text full name okay, demo. And if I run this, it will actually do it on the spot on the web page. Then let's do the next thing. Type text, either email address. Okay, let's put something like this. And as you can see, it will do that. And lastly, we will type the message. Just a test message, and it will be typed here. And lastly, we will want to click this button called send message. So again, click text will do, and then we want to verify that our message was sent. So okay, you will get this kind of a text. So verify message, your message is sent. Will do. Okay, and that's our test case. And now, since we are in the debugging mode, we can end it by clicking or typing exit in the debugging mode. And then whatever we done during the debugging, we can just, copy and paste from here. So I can replace this debug on keyword with the lines that I made interactively in the debugging mode. So like this. I'll just clean these up a little bit and make the formatting a little bit easier for the eyes as well. So like this and like this. And now our test case is done. So we will now run all of these two test cases. Plus, in addition, as an example, we have one test case for Salesforce. The same concept work with Salesforce or SAP HANA or something like that than work with, let's say, Amazon's web pages. So same keyword, everything should work exactly the same. And now we will just run this whole suite. So okay, so it should be starting now. The first use case was adding product to cart, so it will do just that, and then remove it as well. Then it will move on to the contacting use case, and the last one is the Salesforce use case. So first of all, we will log into Salesforce application. Then we will use the app launcher to select sales and leads. And then we will create a new lead. So basically we will fill in these fields that Salesforce has and so on. And at the end we will click save and verify that the lead was actually created. So this pop-up message will be verified as well. That's it. In a nutshell, even with this web application that have very complex DOM, QWeb should work exactly the same as with more simple web applications. The whole point is making test automation maintainable. So if you try to read the script, you probably understand what is happening there. Last thing, a couple of resources. QWeb can be found on GitHub, and one little bit of advertisement here is that you have own repository for QWeb tutorial with exercises and so on. So maybe something that you might want to check. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tuomas, for that video. It was a nice thing that we got that video and demo of QWeb, what we're doing. You really gotta check out that Qentinel QWeb workshop that he linked from GitHub. It's a really good. I actually learned a lot of stuff from there also that I didn't know about QWeb. So really check it out. It gives you all the information that you need to run it and on your local machine and all of that. Really good. Thank you, Tuomas, for getting the video to us, even though you're going to be here today. Next topic that we have, the next demo, we're just going to show you a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff. I don't talk too much about it, but show you is QVision. QVision is our OCR/image recognition engine that you can then use to automate the most trickiest parts of all of your software and automation needs. To demo QVision here, we're going to have Jarno join us from our R&D and talk about that. Hi, Jarno.
Hi, Henry.
How are you doing?
Good. What about you?
I'm doing good, and it's really nice to hear about this QVision stuff. I'll give the floor to you, and have fun.
Thank you, Henry. So, in our earlier demo, we demonstrated general use of our computer vision-based automation, but today we will be concentrating on a specific but rather common task of multi-page data extraction with computer vision-based automation. And this is a common task in RPA or result verifications, where you have lists that you need to go through and check that every row has a certain text or something that indicates that everything is okay, or that when we need to just extract data from the list, all the rows from a list. And this may be challenging when we don't have an easy or not at all API access to structural data, which may occur, for instance, with desktop programs, SAP being an example that has a lot of tables and lists, or just arbitrary PDF files that you need to extract data from and move to another system. And why computer vision has some benefit in this is that it works across platforms with the same logic. So because it sees what the user sees, text rows look like text rows irrespective of the platform. So it finds text rows and then it traverses those text rows and does an action in the row and then moves to the next one. But when we speak of computer vision, robustness is an essential feature. We cannot miss lines, because if we miss lines, it may be a crucial, or it just, we can't rely on the results if we can't trust that every line is processed. And if we do page changes in multi-page data extraction, we need to be able to locate where we continue after we have changed the page. And also, it's good to build some abilities to check and correct program state after action. For instance, if we pressed a button but nothing happened, we may wait for a second and then try again clicking the same button, and maybe it registered the click then. And especially in long-running RPA processes, it's good to have some kind of abilities to correct the state. So let's look an example of this. In the screen, I have a PDF file, which is a shopping list from a Finnish grocery store online shop. And it has the code of the product, the name, and then the amount that how many we want to add to our basket. And this is something that you can send to your friend as an email attachment. And now, using computer vision, we want to extract these product codes and the amounts and move them to the actual shopping system so that we can make an order based on this PDF file. So I've prepared a script here. You'll see the script running on this console on the left. And I'll start it, and what it does, it finds where the row starts, and then it starts to extract those rows one by one. And when it approaches page change, it does a page down, and then it goes back up to find the latest code that it extracted and then continues from there, so that it doesn't miss any lines when those page changes occur. And here again, we will see another page change where it first does it and then it finds where it was left off and then continues from the next row. And we can see also that it doesn't get confused with this EAN code here. I moved my mouse, so that disturbed it a little bit. But if it encounters a value that's not a code, it will just skip it and go to the next row, so it's not confused by that either. And once it has completed all the things, it stops. And unfortunately, because I moved my mouse, it read the wrong value here, and that caused that the end didn't go as smoothly as I had hoped. But that's the demo effect today. So don't move your mouse when you're running computer vision-based automation, because it's actually using your mouse. Okay, so we have this list, and now we want to move these products into this system here. And today I have an additional warning in this, or notification that it's not working during these hours. This wasn't visible when I was preparing this script, but fortunately, because we are not really using any coordinates, just texts, things like this that change in the layout won't really affect to our script. So let's start adding those products that we had to the shopping cart. So I have another script here that adds products into this. So what it will do, it will input these EAN codes, check that the correct product was found, and then add them to the cart. And on the left, again, you can see how it's performing that. So it first writes the EAN code to the search box, then it checks that it's the correct one, then it adds it to the cart and waits for the animation to occur so that the product is registered into the cart. If we went too fast here, the products would actually not be registered, because it takes a moment until the server has received the response. So this script uses various checks to see that no animations are occurring any longer before it continues and goes to the next product. And this would then continue until we have added all the items from the previous step into the cart, and then we could check that did we have the same amount of cart products in the cart that we had extracted, and then we could just make the order. So this was an example how to use computer vision to extract tabular data or data from lists. And I'll stop this script here because it will take a while until it has moved all those 100 items here. And that was it from my part. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jarno. An impressive demo, I'm say, and the whole robustness feature is something that is really needed in all of these vision-based applications, and I think that's really great work in there. We actually have a couple of questions from the audience. Let's take those here for Jarno. First question is from Essiren. Why the list also got the yhteensä text? I'm not 100% sure if it's referring to something that the demo did.
Yeah, so yeah, it got this text. It was because when it was extracting this list, I started to move my mouse in here, so it disturbed the system, so it copied the wrong value there because I was manually moving my mouse. So it assumes nobody is moving the mouse when it's doing its stuff, but I was manually trying to show that here is an EAN code that is skipped, so it had a wrong value there, and I didn't have a check for that value, that it has to be numeric there.
Okay, and Diahe The HE01, I was asking, is QVision using GPU or just CPU?
It's only using CPU.
And that's the thing also. You don't need a powerful GPU to run it, so that's very nice. Talk me through some, as we've been talking about the technical aspects, do you have any kind of like really nice use scenarios for this in your mind that are really like difficult to do otherwise?
Yeah, so where we have encountered this situation where we really need computer vision automation is, for instance, SAP lists. Those are sometimes really difficult to extract correctly or at all. And with QVision-based techniques, you can quite easily write the routine that goes through the list and extracts data there or verifies some values.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like Nikhil is also talking in the chat that asking a question that guess this mouse movement problem would not exist when you run this in an isolated robot in the cloud, right? Ideally, you would run regression in isolated environments. That's what Nikhil was saying. How do you think about that?
Yes, that's correct. Usually you run it on a computer that you're not yourself using. It's running on a server, so nobody else is interfering with the mouse as I accidentally did here.
Yeah. Okay, hey, thanks a lot, Jarno. The schedule is pressing on. An impressive demo, and next we're going to have Visual Studio Code integration. As we saw, that the environment was running currently in a local environment, and now this is what we've been doing to really get that bridge also going, so you can directly from your local editor deploy stuff into Pace, into the cloud environment, and run it from inside of your editor without leaving that. And to showcase this feature, we're going to have Kimmo Nupponen here to talk about it. Talk about his great integration to Visual Studio Code. Hi, Kimmo. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I'm really thrilled to get the show on the road.
Yes, the show is the best possible integration to VS Code, the world's best integration.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really super excited to announce and demonstrate this local test development support PaceEditor VS Code extension. Now, this PaceEditor is one of the most advanced and sophisticated test development environments in overall on planet, and it's designed to make you extremely efficient and productive in your test design and test development efforts. Now, test defined in PaceEditor, we are utilizing this keyword-driven approach. We are using the standard robot framework syntax that's pretty obvious by the demos by now. The keywords that I'm showing here, the library that I'm utilizing is coincidentally these QWeb libraries, where the keywords themselves are rather self-explanatory. So if you look at the sort of the test cases, they are pretty self-explanatory, very easy to understand what the tests are actually doing. I can also switch to Vision library that Jarno demonstrated there, or to use mobile, but here I'm focusing on this web stuff. Now, one of the reasons why I really love PaceEditor is that it sort of guides me through the entire process of test development. So first of all, we of course have sort of typical advanced editing features like code completions and stuff like that. On top of it, we are documenting all the time what you're doing there. So we show the keywords that you're working with. On top of the text, the test steps that you are working with, we constantly in real time we guide the user how to actually complete the test step. So here on top of my line, I see real-time information about the status of the test step that I'm working with. Gives me immediate sort of feedback about what I'm working with. I can quickly look at the the PaceWord library, the keywords that are available by navigating to the Pace Explorer and this PaceWord palette, where then I can see all the keywords that are available to me. However, PaceEditor takes sort of the test development to the next level, and this we through by integrating to a lot of advanced AI and machine learning. So one of the things is that PaceEditor is actually genuinely predicting your next actions. When you are typing your test scripts, it constantly it's monitoring your action and predicting your next steps. And this pertains not only to the keywords, but also to the data values. So here, as I'm working with a sort of simple login example, and I'm about to fill in further text after providing a username, the environment is sort of smart enough to figure out that password is probably something that resonates in this context a lot. And I can directly select a value provided by the environment. Alrighty. Then sort of if we look at this problem from the other direction, now the predictions are here to help me sort of guide further in my test development efforts. From the other direction, I can apply another layer of AI where I can overlay a sort of heat map on top of my test script, where through these color codings we are pinpointing deviations in the test script from a sort of normative scripting style. So this is extremely useful for me when I'm debugging my test cases and trying to figure out sort of test areas that might serve a bit more focus when it comes to sort of honing and fixing the actual test cases. Yet another layer of AI is realized through integration to test case level analytics, where simply a click of an annotation on top of the test brings me to a view that then shows analytical information about the test case, and we can, for example, have predictions about the test execution results. For example, we can gain insights about how the test case is going to perform during test execution, and if it happens to fail, how it is likely that the test case will fail. And then we are predicting, sort of estimating the test case duration and so on. Of course, as we are working with Qentinel Pace, test execution is crucial, and that's why we are integrating directly. Oops, I need to save the file and then run the test. Yes, so we are integrating to test execution directly, and the test execution results that I'm running are brought to the UI directly, and I can click easily the test execution reports there, and taking a bit of time to load the results, and then I can, for example, continue the detailed result analysis on Qentinel Pace. All right, but hey, instead of going through all the features of this VS Code extension, I really encourage you to download the extension and to install it. And now the editor is not generally available today. It's going to be available on next week's Wednesday, and you can download the plugin either from Qentinel Pace, or then you can go to VS Code Marketplace and to download it directly from there. The extension is available for Windows, Macintosh, and Linux-based operating systems, and you can use much of the sort of the advanced features that we have here are available when you sign up to Qentinel Pace, and that way we can integrate with the Pace services that the Qentinel Pace offers, while you can also use this extension for vanilla robot framework scripting. So it's not entirely for Qentinel Pace word scripting, but it's applicable also for vanilla robot framework scripting. Just keeping in mind that some of the advanced features that I have shown here today are only available through the sign up to Qentinel Pace. But it's also good to remember that sign up is completely free, and it anyway, it's great product that we have there, and you should really give that a spin. That pretty much concludes my part of the demo. Sincerely thank you for your interest. At least I'm super excited about this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimmo. You pretty much took my first question already, as I wrote down during your presentation a question that, so you're saying that you can also use PaceEditor as a standalone robot framework editor, but you kind of answered that already in the...
Yeah, exactly. So we wanted to, like Esko explained there, that we really want to give back to the community. We have gained so much out of the robot framework ecosystem, and we really want to give back. It's just that some of the goodies that we have here are really integrated with the Pace functionality that then brings a lot of the sort of the brain power that we saw today.
Yeah. We had a question about George Small in chat, the why PaceEditor underlines custom keywords, and it says the keyword not found even though the keyword is working. There's a nice question.
So custom keywords are fully supported. So for example, here I have a custom keyword, and we are documenting the keyword there. When you hover over it, and you can go to the definition of the keyword, and this applies not only to custom keywords, it applies to variables that you have there, and it's also when you have advanced cases where your test library is implemented in Python, the go-to definitions and type system integration, everything also works with these Python libraries. So it's fully integrated environment with your custom stuff there considered as well.
Yeah, I think George catched it doing something funny during your demo and was asking questions about that. I think that there was something in the logs, I guess. But I think the best way is to contact us through, for example, Robot Framework Slack. You can get stuff in there. We can talk more about that and help you get your answers that you want. And also, as Kimmo said, unfortunately, that we didn't get the release today. We're going to get it next Wednesday. We're going to tweet about it. We're going to spam LinkedIn about it. We're going to spam Slack about it. A lot of these different channels, so you know where to get it, and that you can also start using it then. So one question also, you said, as we said, that it works with Pace. What do you actually get when you register as a Pace user also? What's the kind of superpowers they get from our cloud to your editor?
Yeah, from the editor angle, pretty much all the AI ML features are available through the sign up, and it's sort of all the sort of the advanced stuff that can sort of make you take your sort of development experience to next level. So these predictions, all the analytics, all the heat mapping, and of course sort of the basic test execution integration, debugging, live testing, these kind of things are brought to you through this sign up. That doesn't mean, again, that you cannot use it to do this sort of vanilla robot framework stuff. You get code completion, go to definitions. All the libraries are there, Pace word palettes, sort of typical advanced editing features. These sort of AI ML stuff are.
I have to cut you off here, as I have also the last thing that's also super important that I have to get to. Thank you, Kimmo.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
So the last thing that we have is kudos to some Pace users that we have, and we want to give back to some of the great users that have been helping us develop a lot of these features and giving us a lot of feedback on how Pace works and how all the libraries work in there. And this week we really want to give kudos to Tero Kopra from Go4. He's helped a lot in Pace live testing and has helped us to develop that feature further quite much. His feedback has been detailed and extremely useful for us. We would like to thank Tero Kopra by sending you, I don't know if you're on stream or if you're somewhere else, but thanks a lot, Tero. We're going to send you an Amazon gift card for the great help that we've received you, and thank you a lot for this. We are currently running at 46 minutes, so we are a bit over time, but I really wanted to get this out there and give the kudos to our users. We're gonna keep the QA quite short. We took all the questions, I think, in the stream already pretty much. We don't have any open-ended questions there. No. Thank you everybody for the stream. If you want to get more information about Qentinel and us, some goodies that we're going to release next for the next demo, we're going to do QA for DevOps, new insights data platform. This is something that we're going to dig out a lot of insights from your code, from all the other platforms than just test automation to really evaluate the quality of your releases. And the second great demo for our cloud is test case performance change detection. So this is a feature that, for example, if some test does not fail, but its performance it changes, which is typically an indication that something's starting to go wrong, we can detect that for you and preemptively show you that something's going to go wrong in the future. So stay tuned for that for next month. And now I can say thank you, everybody who's on the stream. You can contact us at info@qentinel.com, or you can directly contact me. And we can help you set up all of this stuff, ask about our open source libraries, or ask about our product. I'll be happy to help you guys. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel so you can get the notifications for our next stream. Thank you, everybody.